Someone once said, "A life without dreams is like a garden without flowers." We just need a little time, love, and nourishment to push our way through the dirt so we can reach our full potential. So imagine the beauty we can create if we stay true to our roots, let ourselves grow, and allow our ideas to come alive. If we reap what we sow, then it's worth the risk to plant the seeds, to encourage our dreams to blossom, because there just might be a new world of color that comes from living life in full bloom. As the king of kombucha, you started the world's best-known brand, all from your parents' kitchen when you were just 15 years old. Today, you are the envy of the beverage industry as an upstart who single-handedly created a blockbuster new category. How important was wellness and holistic living growing up?
Wellness and holistic living was my everything growing up. I was raised by two very spiritual, holistic parents who took me to India when I was a child to study kind of the Eastern ways of living and the philosophies of Eastern culture. My parents really believed that food can be your medicine as well as your poison. They were always into bizarre food, chia, aloe vera, noni, fill in the blank, right? Growing up, that was something that was infused in my daily practices, especially going to school, where you would open up your lunchbox and everybody would pull out their chicken sandwich and their carton of milk, and I was pulling out like tofu and, a protein smoothie and all of that. Kombucha was one of the things that came into the household, and I was 13 years old at the time. I cannot say it was love at first drink. I was actually quite turned off. As a budding teenager, image is everything. Having my parents make this bizarre, tasting, looking tea that, by the way, conveniently was in the entryway of the household. When I'd have friends come over, the first thing they would say is, "What's that smell?" And so I was naturally upset. And I said to my parents, "Guys, this is embarrassing. Do we really have to be so overt with some of our, veganism and healthy ways?" To be honest, again, I wanted nothing to do with kombucha. However, what I did notice is that my parents did have an affinity for it.
What would you say was the defining moment when you realized you could actually turn this into a business?
So it wasn't lost on me why my parents felt kombucha was special. But honestly, it wasn't until 2 years later that my mother went to the doctor to get checked. And the doctor said, unfortunately, there is a very large tumor. It's the size of a golf ball. It's in your right breast. And we believe that you have had it for about 4 years. Now, the good news is your tumor is mostly precancerous and it has not spread. And we find that very unusual. What are you doing in your diet? And so my mother responded, for the last 2 years, I've been drinking this kind of funky tasting tea. The doctor said, well, whatever it is, continue to do it because your situation is remarkable. Now, what's interesting, at the same time, like most teenagers, I was trying to find myself. So I struggled to fit in. And little by little, I started to ditch school and I was failing all my classes. And so that was the first time that I was reminded that I was on a very bad path. So I approached my father and I said, Dad, I'd like to take my GED. I'd like to leave high school early and I'd like to start City College so I can be there with people who want to be there. He said, son, I think that's a great idea. The summer before I started City College is when kombucha started to culminate in the household. I went to my parents and I said, Mom, Dad, this kombucha is so special. It helped Mom, it touched our lives. I'm loving it. It needs to be out there in the world. And I thought, this is a chance in a lifetime. I need to pursue kombucha and just go with it with a complete brave heart and just see what happens. And so I did.
Brighter than gold, brighter than gold.
Here you are as a teenager with no business plan and really no formal training, but what you did have is this passion for this idea that really excited you. So how did you get your new company off the ground?
What really helped is I was so young, and I think my mindset was certainly not that of an entrepreneur. So I wasn't thinking of risk, I wasn't thinking of goals, I wasn't thinking of things that I have to meet to be successful. It was really this personal passion that I had. And so I called the local health food store and I said, hi, I have a product that I want to sell at your store. What do I need to present it? And they said, well, you need a label and you need some kind of address, and that's it. And I was like, really? So I designed my own label, I found a bottle, I started bottling my own batch, and I showed up at the health food store a couple weeks later and I said, my name is GT, and I make the freshest, most potent kombucha available, and I'd love to sell it in your store. And they're like, okay. Well, you know, when you're a teenager delivering a food product to a store and you're making it out of your house, it was a daily fear that somebody was gonna find out that it was just me. With the package, I would measure the dimension from the bottom of the bottle to 3/4 up, and then I would mark it, and that's where I would label it, so that the labels look like they were machine applied. An indication that something is sophisticated and coming from a professional place. I polished every bottle and put it on the shelf like they were jewelry. And I remember just standing there for the first 30 minutes, just watching people come by, stop, look at it, or better yet, put it in their cart and buy it. That was magic to me.
Brighter than gold, brighter than gold.
When you're going through your professional journey, right, especially when you start very young and when you don't really have a framework or context, almost every day is like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. It really is just seeing what you love slowly amplify and being accepted. It's really incredible.
Well, since then, you've gone from home-brewed, hand-delivered bottles to a booming business and a nationwide phenomenon. How does it feel to be known as the king of kombucha?
It's not something that I ever expected. I started off just being a kid and had no expectation of where this would go. So each day is really beyond my wildest dreams. Naturally, I do feel very blessed and I feel honored to be able to present something like kombucha into the world. Everything that we make, no matter how many batches we have, we pour our heart and souls into them. I believe energy is everything, good and bad energy. And so again, I was raised that the energy that you put into everything you do is a reflection of how people are going to interact with it. Yes, we're a business, yes, we're a company, yes, we make products, but it really more is that something that's more spiritual and of a higher consciousness. And so every day, I want to live my life and be in a way that I'm making a positive contribution and not live from the ego, and make sure that I can look back and say, I made a great product, I lived my life to the fullest, I helped people, I touched people, I inspired people. And so that really is my North Star.
Whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you come from, or what's in your lunchbox. You're in charge of cultivating your potential, harvesting your dreams, and designing your own label. So go ahead, break the mold, bottle it up, and give the world something it's never tasted before.